Godless Engineer to do his trademark introduction. So go ahead, Don.
What's up, heathens? How y'all doing?
Excellent. If you're wondering why Casey looks a little more scruffy and man-like than usual, Casey is not feeling well this evening, so she has sent in her other half, Godless Engineer, to take her place. She has instructed that he is not to do so well that he takes her entire place for the show, but we are thankful that he is here. So welcome, Godless Engineer.
Hello. How's everybody doing? As I, my intro suggests. Hope everybody's doing great tonight. I'm still recovering.
Well, you used to say, I'm doing all right at the beginning of every video. So that's how I'm doing.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Damn,
yes.
way back.
We have the one and the only genetically modified Skeptic with us as well. So it is finally nice to have you on the show. I'm glad that you were here as well.
Yeah, I'm glad to be on. I'm a fan of non-sec, like literally everyone in the community is at this point. And, I appreciate what you guys do. I'm just happy to be on, talk about some crazy bullshit right now.
Why? I can't understand why people continue to watch. After some of the dumpster fires that we have, I wonder, like, it's hard for me to sit watch. Yeah, why do people watch? But I'm glad that they do anyway. So I figured before we get into what we're going to talk about tonight, John, you seem to be a little more stressed out than usual. You don't seem to be your usual happy-go-lucky self. Did something happen recently?
Well, yeah, I had a discussion last night with this guy called the Distributist, which I'd never heard of him, and that apparently was my first mistake. And I didn't really check out like how he has conversations and everything like that. I also didn't ask for any talking points as far as what he was going to go over. And so when we did the thing, I was live streaming on my channel. He was live streaming on his. And of course, we had our own respective like groups of people. But he was wanting to talk about anti-theism. And so I'm like, I don't mind having a discussion about that. But he came in with just like, oh, well, how do you define religion? Oh, does that mean socialism is a religion or communism? That's a religion under your definition? Like he was trying to play definition games and was just trying to confuse me, which I mean, at certain points he kind of did. It only took me 11 minutes to lose my shit. So, I mean,
he tried to Steve McRae you.
Oh, yeah. Well, not only that, but like now his friends, the RPR group, and just everybody sharing around his video being like, oh, rest in peace, Godless Engineer. And it's like, oh, you got dunked on, son, and stuff like that.
They were very dishonest.
I am so sorry that happened to you, but the RPR, I mean, they're just I'm not even going to go into that because it'll take away time from actually things that matter. But genetically modified Skeptic. Go ahead, John.
Oh no, I mean, I was just gonna say that it was just a very not a very good performance on my part. I sucked pretty hard, but I mean, I think I learned a lot of things from it, so I can definitely do better in the future. Here's hoping.
like checking up on what they're going to talk about first, right?
Yeah.
So genetically modified Skeptic, I know that you've been doing, we were just talking briefly before we started the stream about what your schedule was like in June. Can you give us some updates on you and what's going on with Faithless Forum and all that before we jump in?
Yeah, so right now I'm in the process of getting Faithless Forum actually registered as a legit nonprofit. Have all of our assignments as far as in the organization all elected. I'm president, John's vice president. We have Casey, who's secretary and director of planning. And we have a few others, but I won't go through everything. But yeah, right now I'm in the process of getting the actual 501c3 taken care of so that we can move forward as far as legal and monetary matters. And that's just kind of the most important thing to do right now. And we've talked about Faithless Forum 2 already, as we kind of talked about at first Faithless Forum. I think that we're thinking staying in Dallas. That's about all I'll say right now. And yeah, otherwise, I went to the Secular Student Alliance conference in Columbus, Ohio, couple weekends ago or last weekend, and I was supporting my friend Objectively Dan, who was doing a street epistemology workshop there. And yeah, he killed it. And he'll tell you, oh, we were one of the most popular workshops or speeches at the conference. No, we were the most popular speech at the entire conference. I mean, like, the organizer came up and was like, Dan, the only thing that's gotten more numbers than this was my kickoff speech for this thing. And the keynote, we're trying to see whether or not we're actually going to get as many as you have in your workshop now. I mean, his workshop just barely beat out the attendance of Faithless Forum just for that workshop. And yeah, so he just killed it. He had like a state representative for the state of Arizona, who's like the only openly atheist kind of like person in government right now in the US, come up to him and like ask all these questions and be like, this is so useful. I'm doing it. It was amazing because that's his debut really in getting really active in kind of this space. And so street epistemology is doing really well, and I fully support that. I was there with Telltale Atheist, and yeah, it's awesome. And Dan's going to keep doing amazing things. I think he's really finding his voice. Other than that, yeah, July is a lot more freed up for me. So probably be going on a few more podcasts and things. Actually trying to get on a Christian podcast right now.
Oh, wow.
Because I think that'd be interesting. So no details until I have that, they're confirmed, disconfirmed, but I think that would be really fun. It's a good-hearted Christian podcast. So I think that would be cool. But anyway, yeah, I'm just excited to do this.
Speaking of that, you recently did something interesting that I'd like to hear a little bit about, if you don't mind. You recently came out as an atheist to your friends and family. How did that go?
Yeah. So it wasn't like when I told my parents, where I just they kind of had suspicions maybe, but then I just went and told them everything. A lot of people ended up finding out because I came out to more and more people as it went on. And then, it's kind of a good piece of gossip, so it kind of leaks. But the majority of people that I just was like, hey, I'm coming telling you guys everything, they already knew that I was not something. A couple of them knew I had a YouTube channel. Some of them didn't know I was doing it full time. So it was a mixed bag, but pretty much everybody responded with this kind of, well, obviously, like, we have our disagreements, but that doesn't affect our relationship. And one of my friends said, I love Drew for Drew. This has nothing to do with whether or not we agree about Christianity. You could do any and all of these things, and even though we would disagree on those, it's not going to make it to where we're not friends, because that's never why we were friends in the first place. And some of my friends probably don't feel quite that strongly with that, but everybody has been like, there's no use in trying to, break your door and try to convert you or something. All of the information that I know, you're going to come to, your own conclusions. And the best thing I can do is just be, I guess, like an example of Christ's love, which I'm all about. If you actually legitimately want to be an example of love for someone, cool. I'm all about that. If you call that Christ or whatever, you can do that. That's better than trying to proselytize to me all the time. And no one's really trying to do that. So I'm really excited about it. And my wife and I are very, very relieved that everyone is taking that well, and 0 friends lost, which I didn't think I was going to be able to say, but yeah, I'm really lucky. And so that motivates me to keep doing this as much as possible, because most people aren't as lucky as me.
Excellent. I know what that's like, in a sense, to get that kind of weight off your shoulders, because I actually had to come out twice. So it was a double whammy for my family, once for being gay and then once for being an atheist. So, and in both of those, I didn't lose anybody either, which was my, biggest fear. So I understand that. And like you said, I think it's important that that's, our cases are the exception and not the rule. Most people do have people that they lose. So I definitely understand how hard that must have been for you to undertake, but congrats.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. And I'm, after all this, I'm kind of setting my sights on Islam more, because I've gone through the Christian thing, and I'll, you know, that will always be where I start from, and I'll still always talk about it. But the people who have it the worst, they're getting killed for doing what we do, you know, and that's just ridiculous. I mean, Sharif Jaber just made a video after like 2 or 3 months of basically being in prison for being an atheist in Egypt, and so now that's what I'm going after hard, and I'm hoping that hopefully some people will see some videos in English and various different countries and be like, oh shit, yeah, people are picking up on this all over the place. And so hopefully some younger people will see videos from Westerners, not just from people in their country, and be like, oh, they have these problems with this too, you know, and listen a little bit. I'll do whatever I can to try to lessen that blow for people who are coming out.
I think that's awesome. That's it takes bravery to go after Islam too. What were you gonna say, John?
Yeah, well, I was just gonna ask, like, how exactly are you gonna be going after Islam? Are you gonna be doing more promotion of what's happening over there, or are you gonna be attacking the ideology of it?
Well, I've done a couple of videos about Islam, and my next one will be about Islam. And there's 2 things that I do on my channel primarily, and one is just trying to educate people on what the religion actually says, or what people's interpretations are, whatever, just to be more religiously literate. So that's a big part of it. But then also I'm trying to elevate the discourse as much as I possibly can, in that when I do a response video trying to talk about what Islam is or isn't, I'm not coming in and saying, oh, you know, and then this person is evil and this person's horrible and all this kind of stuff. What I'm saying is these people are you know, they believe in this thing that's really shitty. And these people say they believe in the same thing, but they don't act shitty to anybody. And so how are we going to reconcile that? How do we deal with that? So ultimately it ends up being, you know, I have 2 videos about Islam, and I already have people in the comments saying, oh, these people are rats, you know, they're vermin, they should be exterminated. And I'm like, so you don't like Islam and you don't like Muslims because you think that they don't respect human rights. So you're going to basically strip them of their humanity as retaliation. How does that make any sense? So I'm talking about coming at this from a humanist standpoint, seeing them primarily as human beings. The main victims of Islam are Muslims. They're not us. So that's how I'm going after it as much as I can, and probably promoting some other activists who I think need to get more publicity in the West.
Now, if you could only figure out how to work in Jordan Peterson with Islam, that would be the way to go.
Maybe that will happen one day, because I mean, if anybody that's been watching my channel, they've seen my channel has grown a lot recently because of a Jordan Peterson video. So
that's why I mentioned.
Which one was that? Which video was that?
So it was Jordan Peterson's most pseudoscientific claim ever. It was my most viewed in 40 hours, and then it was my most viewed in like 4 days, most viewed in a week. And now it's my most viewed video ever. And it was just crazy. You know, I had my normal stats and stuff, but then it was like, oh, you got 1,500 subscribers today. And it was like, holy shit.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, Jordan Peterson seems to be a very big magnet right now, as far as like being able to like make a video, like making a video for it. It seems to really blow up if you do it right. I'm so
torn on him, because there are things that he says that I watch. I recently watched, like over the weekend, I don't know how much stuff on Jordan Peterson. I wanted to see what all the, you know, the fuss was about him. And I thought that going in, I wouldn't like most of what he said, but I'm about 50-50 on it. There are some things that he says that make sense and that I agree with. And then there are, you know, the other 50% that I think is just pure shit. So I don't know how I feel about Jordan Peterson now.
Yep. And that's exactly why I think so many people have something to say about it, because yeah, I never like really tried to put a number on it, but things about free speech that he says, I'm like all for. Right. But then when it comes to the scientific ideas and claims and talking about Jungian archetypes and stuff, I'm so not on board. And what drives me crazy is the majority of people who are on board and who are trying to tell me I don't know anything about psychology don't have psychology degrees, and I do. So it's like they've never actually studied this in school. So it's like, sorry, man, I know you're trying to assert something over me right now, but I can actually explain why this is BS. So, but yeah, I think everybody feels that way, especially guys. I think that guys tend to be more interested in his ideas and his stories for whatever reason. And we all have something that we can resonate with. And he's a great storyteller. That's something that really does well for him. But yeah, then we all have something that we really disagree with. So he stirs up a conversation regardless of whether or not you're a fan. So that's why, you know, he's really blowing up. We'll see if it's a 15 minutes of fame or if he ends up being like Sam Harris, where he just kind of becomes a staple in this entire discussion.
I don't see him becoming like Sam Harris, but he might. I mean, you never know. People gravitate towards things that are, at least nowadays, I'm noticing that people are like flocking into movements and ideologies that a year ago you could have told me would be the case, and I would have thought you were crazy. Like before I started doing YouTube in January, before we actually started doing this, I thought that people who went around believing that the Earth was flat was a joke. I mean, I thought that was not a thing, but their numbers are like multiplying like crazy, and it just baffles me. I don't get it. But John, I'm going to let you introduce our subject for tonight, and then we'll let Drew take it away.
Okay, well, tonight we are discussing homeopathy and essential oils, because that's what Drew is known for. I believe his first video, which actually had a little bit of a controversy recently, maybe not his first video, but one of them. Yeah, he's got all the lovely essential oils back there. So we're going to learn about essential oils, what exact cocktail we can put together in order to get the most immune boosting orgasm we can ever hope to have. And you know, we're going to figure out what homeopathy is, I guess.
What was controversial though, before you start, Drew? What was controversial about that?
Oh God. So the one that he's probably talking about is I made a video that, and it's not even good. Like, I mean, the things I'm saying, I technically agree with, but I just don't articulate myself well because I didn't used to write my scripts. I just kind of said things off the top of my head, and it wasn't very collected. There wasn't really a cohesive point. But I basically found this trailer that was it was advertising the company, and essentially it was Young Living Essential Oils saying, oh, you know, invest in these products and it becomes a lifestyle for you. We're not selling just products, we're selling a lifestyle. If you invest in it's a pyramid scheme, multi-level marketing company, then, you know, you'll be able to quit your day job and do all this. It'll be great for your kids. Like you'll have great health, all this kind of stuff. So it's basically promising health, wealth, and happiness, the full package. And anything that is trying to sell you on that is really, really suspicious. I mean, that's what cults do. So I responded to that just by kind of pointing out, hey, this is really cultish, and talking about how all of the, let me see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on my crappy webcam. I'm gonna have to peel this. But so everything in Young Living Essential Oils is labeled formulated by D. Gary Young. So that D is very important, and it's usually in a somewhat kind of large font on certain products. And so what does that look like to you guys if you see D. Gary Young and the D is important?
Yeah, I mean, you would just assume doctor.
Right. Or some kind of degree or something, right? It's some kind of title. No, it's Donald. But they put that on everything. And yeah, I feel like it's very fitting. Yeah, Donald is some bullshit in disguise, essentially.
Sweet.
But right, so it stands for Donald, and people legitimately don't know that when they come in, and so they're like, "Oh, this is formulated by a doctor." It's just a guy with like a bachelor's degree in like, I don't even know, like kinesiology or some shit. You know, he has no actual credentials for doing this. He just is a farmer that makes essential oils now and blends them together. But they use all of these little tricky tactics to make them seem really legitimate, like saying, yeah, I don't know if you guys will be able to read this at all. It's probably way too
a little
choppy
bit. I
there.
can see the pain away.
Yeah, it's well, I'll tell you about that in a minute. But it says down here 100% pure therapeutic grade. So in all of my descriptions of my videos, I say that this video includes 100% therapeutic grade skepticism. And I have a little asterisk. And if you scroll all the way down to any of my descriptions, it says this statement not evaluated by the FDA, which this does too. So the thing that they do is they say this is 100% therapeutic grade essential oil. Well, guess who decides whether or not it's therapeutic grade? Young Living Essential Oils. Yeah, the FDA has nothing to do with it because this is a supplement. The FDA don't regulate supplements.
They don't regulate supplements.
They don't.
So I could literally blend something up and sell it in that manner without any kind of oversight or anything like that.
Yes, as long as it is a legal substance in the U.S.
No way. That's crazy.
You legit can. I mean, you can literally like get as long as it's like an ingestible substance. So people sell cinnamon and put all these crazy like kind of wishy-washy claims next to it. It's literally ground cinnamon in a pill, and they charge, you know, like $1 a pill for it when it's like a thousandth of a cent worth of cinnamon. But yeah, you can put anything out there on the market as a supplement without being regulated by the FDA. But people say it's 100% therapeutic grade, which is totally legal because it's not recognized as a medical term. But you see that, you're like, oh yeah, it's therapeutic grade. That's a medical term, right? They play on people's ignorance on purpose to try to sell this stuff. It's supposed to look like it's real legit, and the packaging is just beautiful, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, it's just tricks to sell it as medicine legally. Yeah.
I have so many
and one more thing so that I'll just go back. I'm totally ranting. But that was the controversy, is that I called out all of that stuff in that video, and I got basically like 1,500 angry moms who do this as like a side job, who sell these oils as a side job. And they're like, oh, you stupid punk ass young man, you know, you don't know any of this stuff. You don't have any life experience. There are studies that say blah, blah, blah. You know, these have been around for thousands of years. They mentioned it in the Bible. Dr. Gary Young actually is totally credentialed and all this kind of stuff. And I have a follow-up video that actually debunks every single argument that I got in that entire comment section. And sometimes I just go through that comment section. I go, hey, your argument 5 in this video, go watch this video. Hey, you just used argument 2. And so go watch this video. And yeah, so anyway,
so let me ask you this real quick. You mean to tell me that in our country, an 18, 19, 20-year-old can't go and buy a beer? They can serve in the military, but they can't go and buy a beer. That's regulated heavily. But selling things that are packaged and worded in a way that sounds like they're curing some kind of ailment is completely okay and not regulated by any kind of oversight branch of the government. Nothing like that. You just can put anything in a bottle as long as it's ingestible. And so it sounds like that guy that sold that miracle water or miracle spring water or whatever that had the bleach in it.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's so bad that there have been lawsuits where people have independently tested things that have been sold in places like Target and Walgreens, like supplements that are just, it says like, you know, supplement blend, and it's for like joint health promotion, which is not a medical term either, but it sounds like it is. You know, they'll say it like promotes joint health, which you can just say literally about anything. You could put air in a capsule and say that, and it's legal. And they dump out these capsules and see what's in it, and they find things like rat urine and horse hair and just random ass like oak leaves and things like that, which all of that's illegal. You totally can't do that legally. So all those things had to be recalled. They had to pay this huge fine, but all those supplements had been out for years before anyone noticed, because you don't have to run it by anybody. As long as it is actually what it's promised to be on there, like on the label, and it's actually considered safe, then yeah, you can just go ahead and put it on there. I mean, you could literally pee in a capsule and probably sell it for several months before someone's going to find out.
Well, Godless Engineer actually has a person that he debated against on here that would be all for that.
Do not tell allegedly Dave this particular thing. He will sell them as magical capsules that'll cure cancer. Okay, he will, because he thinks he can pee on someone's leg and cure gangrene. Okay.
Yeah, he asked about it the other day. By the way.
Oh man.
That was one of the most disturbing shows I've ever had.
It really was.
Misfortune of producing.
It really was. It sounds like that stuff too that that Alex Jones pushes on his show. You know, like the brain force and
whatever vitality, and like male vitality stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
those it'll get you rock hard in 30 seconds flat.
So if you look at the names of those things, so you see something that's called like male vitality. What do you think it does?
It is going to make you ready to throw down in the bedroom at the drop of a hat.
Yeah. So everybody's going to have their idea about that. And it's called that. There are no medical claims that are made in that name, but it does relay information basically related to a medical claim. It is being sold as some sort of medicinal substance, but it's getting out on a technicality. So it's actually legal to essentially imply that it will make you virile without actually, having any kind of research that backs it up. And I'll tell you about this. This actually used to be called Pain Away. And the FDA, this is one of their most popular essential oils. It comes in the starter kit that you buy when you buy into the pyramid scheme, basically. And it used to be called Pain Away. And obviously people see that and they're like, oh, it's a pain reliever, right? So they got away with it for a long time. And eventually the FDA was like, no, that's too close to a medical claim. Because if you said relieves pain on there, then that would be a medical claim. So they're like, you can't get away with that in the name. So you guys have to change it. So being the brilliant fucks they are, Pan Away.
Are you shitting me?
They changed one letter and it's now legal. And people still call it in private classes. They tell the story of this used to be called Pain Away because it was for relieving pain. But the evil FDA came in and they made it be, called Pan Away instead because they can't rival any of the big pharma industries that are selling mainstream pain relievers that'll give you cancer and will kill your kids and all that kind of stuff. So it has to be called Pan Away now. So they get these narratives that are like these pseudo-religious, cultish type narratives to be able to sell this stuff. So this comes with this amazing story that propagates within this multi-level marketing scheme. And the company encourages all of the advertisement to be done behind closed doors, not out in the open. And you know why? Because you can get away with that stuff until someone from the FDA finds out. And then you're going to be in the shit. But if you do it behind closed doors and you call it Pan Away and stuff like that, then you're golden.
Let me tell you where they're like really a genius, because I guess subconsciously, when I know that you're talking about this particular topic, homeopathy and that thing, I think that when you held that up the first time and I look at the name, just briefly looking at it, not having seen it before, my brain connects that it should say Pain Away, because I know that you're talking about, these supplements, and it looks like that's what it should be just on first glance. So, I mean, in terms of, marketing and being able to push a product, that was a pretty genius move on their part to make it Pan Away. Now it just sounds like it's something for somebody who doesn't like cooking.
Yeah, exactly.
Drop it around and all of your pans go away.
Actually, that's a cognitive thing that your brain does. It automatically fills in like letters and whatnot. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those, like they're not viral, but you'll see them posted up around like university halls and whatnot, where it's a letter, but it's got all of the vowels removed, and you read it, and you can read it fine because your brain automatically fills in like the vowels. I can't remember what process that is, but I know that it's an actual studied process. But but Drew, in your pan away there, what is it exactly in it? Because I've got a list of several different essential oils here, and I want to know what is in that cocktail exactly.
Yeah. So there are a few essential oils that are very well. Essential oils are the aromatic substances that are within plants naturally. So this one, I know that it has wintergreen oil in it, which like comes from a type of wintergreen tree. It smells really good, you know, and people like to put like just a drop here and there around their house or diffuse it or something that smells great. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, wintergreen. And I think that another thing that's in here is clove, but I'm not sure. This is a blend, and that's why it's not just labeled as one type of oil. I mean, anything by Young Living that has been one oil in it has a name that they gave it rather than being called wintergreen or black pepper or clove or something like that. And they sell all of those, but these are their really popular ones, the blends.
They don't tell you what's in it though.
Like, well, you can find it. You can find an ingredient list for sure. And this book that I have back here has all the information that you need to know about all of these oils, including how to use them to cure illnesses, which this book is now illegal, actually. That's why I like it so much. The FDA found out that they were making medical claims in this book, and it's not written about and for Young Living because no one from Young Living wrote it. They contracted doctors who have like fake diplomas, or they're naturopaths, which are fake doctors, stuff like that. They contracted them to write it, and basically, I'll just show you it really quick. I'll have to disconnect my headphone.
Sure. I like the BS sign that's under there too, on top.
So the reason why people are like, oh, I'm going to buy Young Living essential oils after they read this book, and the reason why it's not allowed to be sold anymore is because all of the media, all the pictures, they're all Young Living products. Every single one is. And so even though it's called Reference Guide for Essential Oils, they're specifically referencing Young Living essential oils, which considers this like it's a marketing piece, which that's illegal to do. So what they could do is they could either take out all the medical claims and still have it all like this, which they have a book that's like that, or what they could do is take out all the references to their own products and any product pictures and just put like flowery stock images and still include the medical claims, which they've kind of done both. The main one they use actually is the one that doesn't have medical claims anymore.
That's a brilliant marketing department.
Yes, they're geniuses.
Drew, I'm kind of curious, as far as applying essential oils to whatever affected area, which one do you think would be more effective? If I just smack KC in the face with some clary sage, or if I applied it in some other fashion?
So which way is going to be more effective?
Define effective.
Well, the thing about essential oils is that, they're something that occurs in nature, right? It's completely natural to squeeze 1,000 pounds of rose petals to get one drop of oil. That happens in nature all the time. And so it's going to be really potent. And if you slapped her in the face with it, it will legitimately probably give her a light chemical burn on her face. So I would recommend not on her face.
Well, as far as roses go, what if I just get a handful of petals and I just throw it at her? Will that be effective?
Probably safer than throwing essential oils at someone. Yeah,
much safer.
Oh.
For your
if you
health.
want to smell like roses, then it will be awesome.
Yeah.
What?
For your health, John.
Did you drink roses?
Essential oils.
Oh, essential oils. Don't do that. Well, that was my lead in. Like I proposed the whole thing in a very comical way, but how do you apply essential oils in order for them to supposedly work or something like that? How do you administer them? Are they enemas, or do you take them orally?
There are actually some that people do use as enemas. But
oh yes,
I told you.
It's not super mainstream, but some people do it. They'll make a blend and then use it as an enema to detox themselves, which detoxing, that's just crazy. But
sounds right up.
Yeah. Up my ass.
What did she say?
She said that I can't shove them up her ass. Damn it, Drew.
I like to say that the people that believe in enemas get all their reasoning from the same place that they like to put their coffee.
Up their
which
ass.
is up their ass.
Okay.
I actually knew a guy that was into those the coffee enemas. And
right, if you want to be into that for other reasons, then sure, but not for medical reasons.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So weird. Yeah. So you primarily administer them orally, I'm guessing, and so like you take one drop in the morning and like you don't feel pain the rest of the day.
No, not really. It depends on what it is. So, for instance, grapefruit has a substance, and it's been actually clinically proven that grapefruit contains a certain substance that can help lower or slow down your metabolism, or speed up your metabolism, actually, and can help you lose weight. It's not really shown that eating grapefruit will do that, but it has a substance that can promote that in high doses. Grapefruit essential oil doesn't necessarily have that substance in it, and it's not regulated at all, so you wouldn't even know whether or not it's actually real. So even if grapefruit oil really did have that substance in it, so people will take grapefruit oil by getting like 1 or 2 drops and putting it in water and then drinking it in the morning, and they think that's going to speed up their metabolism, help them lose weight. So it's kind of this loose reasoning. One of the things I talk about with pseudoscience is people like to explain apparently how it works without ever demonstrating that it does work. That's a hallmark of pseudoscience. If someone can give you this great explanation for how the mechanism works, but then they never actually show you like demonstrably this does work, there's no trial that proves this works, like ibuprofen or something, then it's probably pseudoscience. But this is not something you would take orally. You only take it orally if you actually have pain in your mouth. This is topical. So some people say you should always put it on straight because that makes it more effective. And some people take the idea that you should always use a carrier oil, which that is an oil in the traditional sense, like that's a fat. So you know how people love coconut oil in like the woo-woo world. So they get like a dab of coconut oil and they put a drop in that and then they rub it around. And yeah, so it's kind of to dilute it. Some people take the homeopathy type idea where they think that if it's diluted, it's more effective, which I don't know why you would want to concentrate it into an oil in the first place. Just like go to a place where you're near all of these plants and it should work great. But some people, yeah, say that you should put more on and it makes it more effective. There's no really consistency there. It just depends on who you talk to. And then this one is called purification. And it's literally exactly what you would think. Sounds woo-woo bullshit, right? Because all the claims they make are, it either can help clear away the ozone from the air, or get away all of the toxins and chemicals out of the air that are harsh for you, or it can actually cleanse impure spirits away from you. And people put this stuff in the air. They don't really like drink it, and they don't really put it on them necessarily. It's more something that you put in a vaporizer and like let it go in your home. That's called diffusing it. It actually is, it's anecdotally, insects don't really like the smell of this very much, but that's true for almost all of these oils because oils evolved to be basically insecticide for plants naturally. And so if you put enough of these on your body, it will probably work as a kind of insect repellent. It's not going to be as good as an actual insect repellent, but it'll work better than nothing. So
does I've actually used this. In it?
Actually, I don't know. I actually think so. I think this has lemongrass. This also has some citrus in it. And what is it? There's something else.
For everybody that's listening, you can also use lemongrass for cleansing, an antiviral, insect repellent, more cleaning. Cleansing and cleaning must be two totally different things. And then an antimicrobial. So get your lemongrass now and tape it to your head, so that way you can chase away all the insects.
That's so. Please do. Send us pictures of that. We want photographic evidence of that.
This is really like the whole Jordan Peterson thing we were talking about. Like there are some parts of what Jordan Peterson talks about that are just pretty mundane. They're true. You know, it's just kind of normal. They're not remarkable. And then there are other things that are just so outlandish, but because some of the things that he says are legit, people will buy into more. It's a foot in the door technique. And so that's what these people do. Because I mean, if you want to use this as like bug spray, basically, as long as you're not at risk for malaria or something, then whatever. I mean, you're not really hurting anything. Sure, go ahead and do it. It probably works. I would guess that if you tested it, it would be slightly better than nothing. And but the issue with it is that you're. Oh, I'm sorry.
Have you found any that actually work, that actually do what they claim to do?
Well, the thing is that they're not claiming to do one specific thing. The company makes very broad claims about it, and then they basically hire people to make claims about it, kind of paying them under the table type thing, or they promote books on their websites that say that they do all these things, but the company themselves is not actually putting any money into those people's pockets for saying that. And they also want people to promote all this stuff behind closed doors so that basically they're not caught by the FDA. But so there's not one claim that anything could really hold to. There's tons. I mean, there's probably thousands of applications that are proposed for every single oil. And I would say that about 40% of those for any given oil are exactly the same as one other or two or three or a dozen other oils. I mean, there are thousands of oils, and you'll talk about peppermint oil and they're like, oh yeah, helps boost a healthy metabolism, can help relieve pain. It can help your allergies go away. It's an insecticide. It's antimicrobial. And then they're like, okay, so what is purification? Well, it can help with pain, can help you lose weight. It's an antimicrobial. Like, they say the same things. So it just depends on what you like the most. But basically, I'll take this to more scientific spot. There are that certain things do certain things. Peppermint oil, for instance, it's a vasodilator. So if you get it and you sniff it, it is clinically proven to open up your sinuses, and that can provide some relief from like allergies and things like that. So cool, great. You can get peppermint oil at the store for like $2 instead of buying it for $30 from Young Living, or doTERRA or anything like that. But yeah, exactly. That's the active ingredient in Vicks Vapor Rub, is a type of menthol. It's a menthol compound. It's just not naturally derived. It's synthetic, which is cheaper, and it's molecularly identical. So there's no problem with that unless you believe in woo-woo bullshit. And so there's that. I think there's some research that shows that some peppermint oil in certain instances can help with, I think it's ulcerative colitis. It can help treat some of the symptoms of ulcerative colitis, but it's not, I don't think, as effective as medication. So there's things like that. There's probably a few others. I think that there are some kind of actually there are a lot of antimicrobial substances in here, because these evolved to be antimicrobial substances inside plants to protect them from getting chewed up by insects, or molding or anything like that. So they do help. You can put them in a cleaner and run them over mold, and mold will probably die if it's not a super resistant strand or something like that. But you could do the same thing with isopropyl alcohol, or even just tequila or something like that.
Yes.
this just smells a lot better, so you could use it. It's a lot more expensive, so I don't think it's worth using, because I mean, you're spending $50 for what you could spend literally 50 cents on instead if you did it with alcohol. But
what do you get for $50?
There's a good amount of oils you could get for $50. The oils will be different prices depending on what they are. Some plants are a lot easier to grow, and they don't grow seasonally. They grow all the time. And then they also just produce more oil naturally. I think that peppermint is one that tends to be a little bit cheaper. It's also it's sold for food a lot of the time too. It's a pretty popular flavor. And so just because of demand, it just makes it to where people don't have necessarily a monopoly on it. So their prices have to be a little bit lower. But something like rose oil, like I was saying, that can run you like $140, $150 a bottle. And we're talking like maybe this big.
What?
There's also there's also this, and I'll show you the difference. These are two different sizes of oils, and I think that it's the larger one. This one is called Valor, and it's basically sold as a replacement for antidepressants because it makes you brave. So that's awesome, right? That's not going to kill people.
Totally.
Yeah. But
what about things like fish oil? You know, because do you put those in the same kind of, like, do you put all oils like that in the same kind of category? Like, do you think that the benefits from fish oil that people tout are like a actual thing, and this is just like the crazy side of the oils, or do you think the fish oil is actually beneficial? Something like that.
Well, the first thing to clarify is that essential oil, they like to use the word essential to be like you need it kind of thing, but originally what it's named for is it is supposed to be the essence of the plant, because, you know, that's a great descriptor and very specific. So if it's an essential oil, it's not an animal product. It's always going to be a plant oil, and it's not a fatty oil. So a fatty oil would be something that has like omega-3s in it, like fish oil. It's going to be something like basically like milk fat, butter, olive oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, coconut oil, any of that kind of stuff. There are claims about what different oils can do that aren't essential oils, and some of them do have like some clinical backing, like fish oil, for instance. It is shown that if you take it regularly and it is your kind of a large source of omega-3 fatty acids in your diet, then it can help reduce your bad cholesterol. And so that's great. But I mean, doctors will tell you that. Doctors aren't hiding that. I mean, I high cholesterol runs in my family, and when I had a physical for work, they told me, oh yeah, you should take some more like omega-3s or fish oil or something, because that will help keep your cholesterol low as you get older. And so that's great. The main woo-woo one is coconut oil, where people will say it'll do this or that. A lot of the time people say it's like a cleanser, it's a detoxer, or it's really good for your body because it's the good type of fat. No, there's probably just about as many woo-woo claims about coconut oil as there are about essential oils. And I'm not sure if there are any kind of actual medicinal or health type benefits related to coconut oil other than it can help moisturize your skin, which is good if you have dry skin. Yeah, it can be good for your hair, and it's non-toxic. I mean, it's fine. Like if you have really sensitive skin and that's the only moisturizer that seems to really work for you, then go for it. It's cheap. But one of the very pernicious things about that is coconut oil actually is extremely, extremely high in saturated fat, which it's a normal part of your diet. But if that's the only fat that you're ingesting, as opposed to something like canola oil, which is mostly unsaturated fat, then that can be really dangerous and can actually make you have serious problems with blood pressure and just any of the problems that you tend to have with your heart and your vascular system when you ingest a lot of saturated fat. It's like eating ice cream, you know? So don't replace the fat in your diet with coconut oil, because it's okay in small doses. It's fine. I had coconut oil yesterday, but it's not better than like canola oil, which is mostly unsaturated, or olive oil. You should probably stick with more unsaturated fats than saturated fats. It doesn't matter if it comes from a plant or not. It's the same thing molecularly.
I just got an idea. It's knowing that you can't get in trouble for, you know, pushing something or selling something that implies that it can do something to solve an ailment. You just gave me an idea. I'm going to do that with ice cream. I'm going to start naming ice cream different things, like Panaway chocolate ripple. We can do this, guys.
That's actually a really, really smart idea. You could totally do that. Be a little bit easier. The FDA regulates food. They tend to have a little bit more oversight with food, so that might actually be harder than selling something that literally no one would want to buy for any reason but the claim. Because if your chocolate ripple Panaway actually does taste good, then people will want it for that. But yeah, so I mean, you might be able to pull that off.
Well, I mean, what if you had the ice cream and you named it after common essential oils, and like you didn't claim that the essential oil was in it, and it's just like vanilla? I mean, would that be a way you could get around it?
Loophole.
I think that you could probably do that as long as you don't get in trouble with copyright law. So as long as you're not selling something that's been copyrighted as far as a name by an essential oil company, like you probably wouldn't be able to call it Pan Away, but you could probably call it like Pin Away, something really similar.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
I have to ask really quick. So I'm on this website about essential oils. Obviously. So I'm looking at ginger, and it says that ginger is warming emotionally and physically. I'm wondering, how can ginger warm my heart like that?
Well, if it's warming physically, which you do, if you ingest a good amount of ginger, it will feel like you're getting some kind of warmth. It's kind of how it works. So obviously, you know, it will warm you emotionally as well, if that's the emotion that you choose to associate with that warming sensation. I mean, really, the way that it works is the company says, oh yeah, it warms you emotionally. That's not a medical claim, but then you're like, oh, this is going to warm me emotionally. I feel very emotionally cold or something. And so you get it, you use it, and you're like, you know what? They're right. I do feel emotionally warm, because you were expecting that the whole time.
Sugar pill. I think that, John, I thought you were going in a different direction with that question when you talk about gingers that warm you physically and emotionally. Have you ever looked into Jessica Chastain's eyes?
No, I can't talk about those things.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. There's a ginger that will warm you physically and emotionally.
All right. Well, as I was looking at these essential oils, I came up with the perfect combination of things. Okay. And so I'm gonna throw in ylang ylang, whatever that is. Let's see. I was gonna do that one along with let's see. Huh?
Nothing. I was laughing at you trying to pronounce ylang
ylang, and then rose. I'm gonna throw some rose in there. And then hold on, I'm going through the list here. I forget which ones they are. Ylang, rose, and what's oh, I think it's the clary sage. Yeah, I think it's the clary sage. They're all aphrodisiacs. I'm gonna call it quick come. It'll make you go in a minute flat. Like legit, like you can go from nothing to painting the wall.
Nothing to ylang.
Okay, so no shit, actually, right now. So I used to go to like essential oil classes to learn about them, and that's kind of what tipped me off to like, ooh, I feel like I need to research some of this on my own, because some of this sounds a little kind of out there. I feel like the government would know about this stuff if this is true, like the cancer cure stuff. But I didn't really know, so I decided to research. But one of the claims that I thought was a little strange at first was this person was saying that if you are trying, it's not always, it's not always the girl. Sometimes it's the man that has the issue, especially if the man is older than you, significantly older. So the person actually is like, and I'm just gonna demonstrate what we mean here, and we'll move on. This can help promote, I don't even know, I guess they used all these kind of like flowery terms to basically mean sperm production. And this doesn't have anything in it, so I'll actually like do this because I don't want to. They got this and they're like, you want to make sure that you have time and it's an intimate setting, and just tell him that maybe it's time for a massage and you're just wanting to take care of him. And I'm like, if you're trying to take care of your husband, there's better ways to do it than fucking essential oils. But just be delicate. And they start making like these hand motions. So my mic is in the way, you guys don't. So they start making like these hand motions, like, and I'm like, so you're saying put this in your hand and then grab his nuts. That's legitimately what they're saying.
one moment from the show of just Drew going.
So
you do that well, by the way, Drew. You do that well.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. I feel like you would probably have more experience.
Whoa. That's a hell of a place for it to freeze. Why? Fucking VMix. Yeah. Okay, the call froze. Why are they all... What is going on? You all dropped. Hold on, folks. We have a technical issue. I'm not sure what exactly happened. It's really a bad timing, but I will try to get them all back. Let me try to get Kyle back first. Give him a new link, and we will try to get him back in. I don't know why it did that. I really can't fathom this. This is such annoying crap. And there is no reason for this. And I apologize for the interruption. Okay, well, apparently, VMix call isn't going to let us work. Let me see if we can get this working on Zoom. Drew's in a kind of a precarious. Let me reset him. Do that up. We're still working on this, folks. Give us a second. You there, Kyle? You want to turn your camera on? I'm going to attempt to. Are you getting a hold of John and Drew? Drew, yeah. Same link. Well, they can't hear you yet, but I have to fix that bit, but they can hear me. We're setting up, folks. Let me make it so they can actually hear you real quick. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure something else out because that's just ridiculous. Well, let me at least get your audio in. They should be able to hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, they can hear you at least. They won't be
All right,
able
good.
to see you for a couple seconds here, but
That's fine. At least that's recovered. Okay.
Hey, is my
Drew,
audio shitty right now? Because it says it's using my computer, not my mic. Is it using this?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You sound
Okay,
fine.
great.
And we are still live now.
Yeah.
It didn't drop the connection. But when we last left off, you were talking about how much of a professional nut grabber I was.
Yeah.
And then you would.
they can hear you. Keep going.
He had her stuff up, and then
Oh, Dave, they can only hear you apparently.
How about now?
How about now?
Are
Okay,
we
so you
better
can hear us now?
hold
Yeah,
on.
this kind of crap is annoying.
Maybe I should get out my uke.
No, we're good. Get your ukuleles on. That's cool.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Somebody
Talk
say
about
something.
feeling it now, Mr. Krabs.
No.
No, apparently not.
You should be able to hear us.
There we go.
All right.
apparently now it's good.
Sound is
Okay.
back.
Good.
I don't
Awesome.
know why it went away. It makes zero sense in my
So
head.
I was telling people, John had just read off that lemon is supposed to be uplifting, and he made the comment that if you squirted in someone's eye, it wouldn't be that uplifting. So I asked him if he knew what a suicide shot was. And in college, I was at a dive bar one night. I had way too much tequila, and the bartender said that if you will take the suicide shot, then I'll comp your entire ticket tonight. You don't have to pay for a thing that you've rung up here. So what I had to do was they put a line of salt on the bar, put a shot of tequila at the end of it, and then a lime wedge. And you had to snort the salt, shoot the tequila, and then squeeze the lime in your eye. And if you did that, then you got your entire. I would have paid double my bill before I will ever do that again, ever. And the worst part wasn't even the lime; it was the snorting the salt.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be horrible.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
bad. It was bad. It took me days to get over that.
Oh
Days
my
to get over
god, that I can't even imagine. That sounds so bad. That would be. I feel like cinnamon challenge, but worse.
What's the cinnamon challenge?
Wait, you don't know the cinnamon challenge? That was like what was it, guys? Like 2015 or something like that?
Yeah,
Maybe
it was a few years ago.
where someone would have to get a whole spoon of cinnamon and then they had to like put it in their mouth and swallow it whole without any water, which it's like physically impossible because it's so dry. But then also cinnamon is it's an irritant, like a serious irritant. and if it gets in your lungs, like it can suffocate you. So what always happened is people would put it in their mouth, and you know, it would be in there for a second, and people would like try to swallow, and it would kind of choke them up just a little bit, and so they'd cough, and that was what got really bad, because they would cough and a little bit would come out, and they would like gasp, and it would all go up there in their sinuses, into their lungs, and all this kind of stuff, and they just choke.
It's fucking
like,
evil.
just straight choke for like a minute.
I know what kind of YouTube videos I'm going to be watching later.
Yeah. No, people went to the hospital because of that stuff.
The worst thing? Go ahead, John.
Well, I was going to say, and the stupidity of the internet doesn't stop there. Do you remember when they had people that were literally lighting themselves on fire later? I mean,
yeah,
it's just all these challenges. They're crazy. I can't wait for the first essential oils challenge.
Let me tell you, the worst thing in the world that I've ever done in my life, even worse than the suicide shot. I was pledging a fraternity at my campus or at my university, and if you messed up on like repeating some of the things that you had to know, one of the things that you would have to do is the gallon challenge, and this took me 3 days to recover from, and I've never felt anything that even compared to this torment. But you and somebody else would square off, and you would have to chug a gallon of buttermilk. And
buttermilk too.
Yeah. And it was like, it made me sick for 3 days. I don't think I'd ever recover from that. So there are more dangerous things than what you would think in the dairy aisle. I still can't look at buttermilk the same.
So if I can screen share, I don't know, you guys make the call, because it's a clip from Friends that's up on YouTube, but you guys can make the copyright call. But there's a clip of Joey from Friends saying like, oh yeah, I can drink a gallon of milk in like 10 seconds or something. Would you guys mind if I played that?
No, yeah, go ahead.
I don't know how good that's gonna work. I might need to recenter this, but yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys need to be able to hear it or not. It doesn't necessarily matter, but let me hit screen share really quick.
It should play right through.
Okay, there we go.
It destroys the entire layout.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, don't do that. That's bad.
All right. I'll go back here and
damn it.
Let me see if I can actually switch this back. I should
stop screen sharing.
Yeah, hit the red up top.
Oh yeah. There it is. I was looking for that button. There we go. All right. Well, anyway, Joey drinks a whole. Oh yeah, that does look terrible looking down at the stream. Joey drinks an entire gallon of milk, and the way that he does it is he holds it above his head and he holds his mouth just a little bit under it, but he lets the majority of the milk go down his chest.
I should have done that.
He's just pouring the majority of the milk all over his body. So that's the best way to do it, right? That's how you should have done it.
You had that thing up on demand too. That the quickness with which you had that clip is pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, my wife and I watch Friends. Like we've watched it just since we've been married, probably 6 times through. She's probably watched it at least 20 times. There will be like just completely random, not even quotable lines, and she'll just be saying them the whole time because she's seen it so many times. So yeah, it's quick on demand in my brain, kind of unfortunately.
Excellent.
Hey, since we were talking about Enemas earlier, and now we're talking about challenges, did you know that college students started butt chugging beer?
No way.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a 2012 article where apparently somebody got severe alcohol poisoning from shoving beer up their ass.
Well, the way that I think that started was that people were trying to get drunk really fast without ruining their breath. And so they'd soak tampons in vodka and then just kind of stick it wherever. And there you go. Doesn't ruin your breath and you get drunk. And you get drunk really, really fast.
Wow. Stevie Nicks did in one of her autobiographies, she talked about how she had done so much cocaine that she couldn't snort it anymore. Like she had destroyed all of the vessels in her nose. So she started taking it anally. And she said that was the greatest high she'd ever experienced.
Cocaine in your ass is the best high ever. Really?
Yeah, that is a true story. That is a true story.
Well, John says it's bacon. Or
Wow.
Taco Bell.
I thought it was tacos.
Oh, that's awesome.
For anybody that doesn't know that specific reference, that's from my 10K subscriber celebration live stream where we did hate comments with John, and I ended up asking him what someone said that I shoved something up my ass or something, and I was like, John, what would you shove up your ass there in Alabama? Because here, it'd be like barbecue or Tex-Mex or something, and he's like, Casey's like, bacon, and he's like, no, it's Taco Bell. So even at Faithless Forum, I was like, oh yeah, our MC is gonna shove this up his ass. And like, there's like 3,000 views on that video, and I've referenced that to the point where probably like 50,000 people have seen it. So
that needs to be your next shirt, GE.
Tacos, you know where to put them.
That's awesome.
It's like Taco Bell serving it where the sun don't shine.
What's their slogan? Live Moss. You
Something
can play
like
with
that.
You can play around with that. This could be huge, GE.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I didn't really have anything to say.
I was going somewhere highly inappropriate anyway, but I decided it would be best not to go there.
Well, we did skip out on the entirety of the ball fondlers comment.
Oh
but,
yeah,
all fondlers. Let's get back to the original conversation, shall we?
So to avoid anything inappropriate, let's talk about handling testicles. So yeah, this lady is talking about fondling the nuts with some essential oil, and people are kind of laughing. But I'm not shitting you. This is just it's like I haven't even thought about this in like 2 years because that's how much it just disturbed me. I was like the only man in this entire thing, right? And I think I was like 19 or 20 probably when this was going on. And I go to another class, and a bunch of the women that were in the last class come back, and they start talking to the instructor about the details of them trying that. And they're like, is it normal to get some red spots on the testicles? And like, well, my husband had just shaved, and he said that he was in some pain, and I was just like, oh my God. So that was actually a big part of me starting to question essential oils was my balls are burning.
Did you start out by like you honestly believed in what these could do, or did you attend these classes for purposes of doing what you do now, which is going on and debunking their claims?
No, it wasn't really completely either one. It was closer to that I believed it. It was more to support friends and family that did it because my whole family does it. And I'm the only one that doesn't. I'm the only non-fundamentalist and only non-essential oil salesperson in my family. And that goes for extended family. And
wow.
Yeah.
Do they know that you come on and debunk them?
Yeah. And a lot of them are more upset about that than debunking Christianity, which I think is very telling because that's their actual religion.
That is very telling.
Yeah. And it's just as harmful too. But John, you're going to say something?
Well, yeah. So one of the things in urine therapy is that they'll oftentimes put piss in their eyes. Do you ever put essential oils in your eyes?
Boy, what a segue.
I don't know anyone that actually puts it directly in their eyes. So that's good. That's one over urine therapy.
You're making progress.
Yeah.
Honestly, not sorry to interrupt you there, Drew, but like, I'm wondering, like, if you did like a carrot, like essential oil, I think you could probably trick people into putting carrot oil in their eye. It improves eyesight, honey.
But carrots don't have oil.
You could probably get some kind of oil from it.
Yeah, you squeeze it hard. You squeeze anything hard enough, juice will come out.
Yeah, exactly. Because like roses.
Oh man,
roses don't have oil really that you think of, but you can get oil out of just about any plant. So you're actually right. I bet that you could get carrot juice or carrot oil or something. And as long as it didn't burn too badly, you could probably convince people to do it. I would bet money on that.
It'd turn your eyes orange like you were jaundiced, though.
look like fucking Trump. We're
Well,
not
I mean,
doing it.
yeah. What do you think the urine people? I mean, like every time you have allegedly Dave on, he looks like he's jaundiced as fuck.
Well, I will say when he was on this past Monday,
He looks like a goddamn
he
highlighter.
had and I think it was the lighting in the room, but I couldn't help but laugh when the video popped up because he was in like a room with yellow walls, and the light was such that it made a cast over the entire his entire video, where it just looked like you were looking at it through like a yellow lens, and I couldn't help but John should be here to see this. This is glorious.
Just looking like a minion from Despicable Me.
It was yeah.
Yeah.
But do they really put it in their eyes though, John?
Oh, well, the urine people. Oh, yeah. There's this one post of a woman who aged her urine by putting it in the refrigerator.
No, you do not. That's not how you.
No. Okay, Casey. I know. Thank you, the urine connoisseur.
I know my piss science.
Not how you age urine.
I know.
A wine person is a sommelier, so a piss person would be a urinate. She's a urinate.
Yeah. Well, okay. So there's a Facebook post of a woman that was like, I aged my urine in the fridge and then I put it in my eye and now there's pus coming out of my eye and all. So I mean, they actually do that. They actually put, they'll rub it into their skin. I think even allegedly Dave, he said that he rubs it into his skin.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't want to be anywhere near him because I'm fairly certain it'll just smell like piss the entire time. And it's kind of like when a cat pisses on your couch. You just got to burn the couch and get a new one because you're
going to say burn the cat. I was like, I don't know about that.
Oh, damn.
In China though, I didn't know this until after he had been on, but somebody sent me an email and said that they start off the email, the things that Dave was speaking to last night about the urine therapy aren't that bizarre. And so I knew the rest of the email was just going to be a lot of fun, but they said that about a third of the people in China, now I don't know if this is true because I didn't look into it, I just kind of shook it off, but they said that a third of the people in China swear by it to some extent.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that get popular like that in culture, and that's something that in the West people use as as an argument, and I think that's argument 5 or 6 in my video, where it's
nice.
Yeah, it's what's it called? I think it's called like seven arguments for alternative medicine debunked, and I mean I think that was probably my very first video that I actually was like, this is pretty good. But yeah, saying that it's been around for thousands of years or that it's a big thing in this foreign culture or something like that, that's a big selling point. But the issue is that the majority of people don't know to ask, okay, well, yeah, it's popular, sure, but has it actually been tested? Is it actually proven scientifically to do the things that those people think that it does? And people are like, well, no, but it's been around for thousands of years, so that's thousands of years of evidence. I'm like, no, that's the same amount of evidence that anything has without any research, which is nothing reliable. It doesn't matter how long it's been around.
Well, I noticed this in my research for tonight. The flat earthers use that exact same fallacy. It's called the argument from antiquity. Argument from antiquity. I mean, flat earthers, they use these old ass maps. They're like, see, all of these old civilizations, they knew that there was a dome and it was flat. So NASA's trying to hide shit from us. And that's pretty much their entire argument for it. So, I mean, it's kind of odd how woo in different areas use the exact same fallacies.
Yeah. And that's kind of what my channel was predicated on. It's like, I stopped being religious because I became skeptical of like alternative medicine stuff. And then I realized, what if I apply the same skepticism to like, religious arguments? I realized they're using the same fallacies. It's the same woo. It's just reframed a little bit. And that ended up making me be non-religious, And so that's kind of that's like what my first video is about. A lot of my early videos are about a lot about that. And I'll probably return to that in certain videos in the future too. But yeah, woo does really share across the board a lot of arguments, because I would actually say that there are very common psychological phenomena that they just kind of happen. They're part of our biological makeup to have this certain kind of psychology, like seeing agency in the world, or, you know, thinking that something that's old is good, or thinking that something is, I don't know, something that is natural is going to be naturally healthier or is going to be better in some way. So we have that built into our brains. And so it makes sense that a lot of woo would share arguments, because it's just kind of built into us. And we're trying to rationalize something, honestly, that we believe in before we have arguments for. And then afterward, we're coming up with arguments to justify what we already think. It's post hoc, you know, is really what it is.
There's a natural remedy that you can use now that would take care of 99% of the things that those oils claim to, and that is marijuana. It will relieve your pain, all of that stuff.
That's right.
Drew,
CBD oil, baby.
Yeah. Do you mind if we take a couple of questions from the audience?
Yeah, let's do it. And guys, super chat, you know, like they can tell you to do that or whatever, but then they can look like jerks for asking for money. But no, you guys should actually super chat, because these guys deserve it. So you want to ask questions, it's the way to do it.
Well, thank you.
I managed to spot 3 before the debacle of the stream chat crashing, or whatever you want to call that. The first one is, what do you know about tea tree oil?
What do I know about it?
Yes.
The main thing that I know about tea tree oil is that it's incredibly toxic to cats and dogs. And so it's actually not very safe to have around loosely in your house. There are a lot of claims, and that's a pretty well-known oil. Dates back a very long way in kind of common anecdotes in a lot of cultures. So there's naturally going to be a lot of claims about it. I don't know that it actually has any other effect that's been shown to work, other than I think that it can be used topically for some kind of moisturizing / like skin soothing effects.
Poison oak.
However, I'm not sure whether or not it's going to be more effective than anything that would be prescribed or something that's on the market that's not naturally derived more than a synthetic. I don't think that it is actually dangerous. Some oils tend to be a little bit more dangerous than others, like clove can actually give you like chemical burns. But yeah, tea tree oil, not terrible, but don't leave it around your cats and dogs because they can die. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Actually, I learned that from a vet. I took my pug to the vet, and they were just talking about essential oils or something like that, and kind of trying to warn us against it, which that made me really like the vet. And they're like, don't have tea tree oil around, you know, the house at all. When you have him out, you need to have it like up in a cabinet secured where he can't get it, because if he drinks this, he can get poisoned.
You have a pug too?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you had a pug.
Yes. His name's Archie.
Oh, mine is Puggles.
He is enormous. Like he's wider than he is long, but they're the greatest dogs on the planet. I don't care what anyone says.
I do believe that's called a chode, right?
Yep, that's what a chode is. Just replace dick with pug. There you go.
I won't tell him you said that about him. he likes your videos.
Aw. My pug is really small. He's only 15 pounds. Like, and he's like fit.
Mine's 29.
Yeah, there you go.
And then
29 pounds.
And then I have to read this because, you know, this is just people being goofy. $5 from Godless Engineer. Explain what homeopathy is, please.
Well, I mean, I figured I'd ask that since it's called homeopathy with GMS, and we only talked about really essential oils.
Dave, you sounded like Mr. Garrison from South Park when you read that.
I do try.
So there's a few different things that are obligatory mentions when talking about homeopathy. One is that people think that natural medicine or like home remedies or something they think that that is called homeopathy, which that's not homeopathy. Homeopathy is something very specific. If you're talking about natural medicine or home remedies, that kind of stuff, you're going to be talking about naturopathy. That's what naturopathy is. So think natural remedies, naturopathy, not homeopathy. Homeopathy doesn't come from home. It comes from homo, which like same. So, I just saw that smirk there. So there's a couple of important principles, both of which are scientifically not credible whatsoever. And one is that like cures like. So if you have trouble being too wired, then what's going to actually help you not be wired, to cure you of being wired, is going to be something that makes you wired. Yeah, it makes great sense, right? So if you're super wired, you can't sleep, what are you going to use? Well, you're going to use something like coffee.
Cocaine.
You could use cocaine, I guess. But what you have to do with it is you have to dilute it down. So the two principles of homeopathy is like cures like, and then also the more diluted something is in water, like the more it's adulterated and there is very little of it, the more potent it actually is in curing like. So the process of creating a homeopathic sleeping pill would be getting like coffee oil or a coffee bean or just coffee and putting a drop in a big vat and then mixing in more water from another vat and then mixing in more and more and more and more, doing it so much to the point where it's physically impossible for there to be even a single molecule of coffee left in that vat. And somehow the properties of the substance is supposed to carry over into all of the water and actually amplify its kind of like causing the opposite effect type powers. So
I'm so confused.
Yeah. So basically what you're getting when you buy something that is labeled homeopathy, it's either going to be pure water or pure sugar that came from a vat of something that once had one small drop or a tiny bit of a substance. So if you buy a homeopathic sleeping pill, you're buying something that way, way long time ago, before it was adulterated, had some coffee in it, but not even enough coffee to do anything in the first place. But now it's just pure water. So like James Randi, the famous, magician and skeptic guy, he would get a whole bottle of homeopathic sleeping pills and just eat them all on stage and then do his entire performance. He's like, I should be asleep for days, right? But it doesn't do anything because it was just sugar or it was just water. Steve from Rationality Rules actually did the entire thing too, which was pretty funny because he got the sugar kind and he didn't have any water on hand. And so he was like that. So that was great.
That seems like bullshit to me.
That's literally what he just described, was a bunch of crap. Anyway.
Yeah, so it's been tested. You might be like, oh, that doesn't sound, like it would work. That sounds counterintuitive. But you can't really say that it actually doesn't work and be like properly skeptical of it and say like, oh yeah, this does not work until it's been scientifically tested and shown that it never works. Well, guess what? There are thousands of randomized controlled trials out there and meta-analyses out there that show that this doesn't do shit. It's just placebo. That's it. That's where we get the term sugar pill to mean placebo is from homeopathy.
Well, what I would pose to somebody that's trying to sell it to me, like the more you dilute it, the more powerful it is. I'd be like, try that with fucking sugar and tea. I can guarantee you that it does not become sweeter the more you dilute a little bit of sugar. Like, yeah. I don't know. That seems like to be a pretty good way to show that it renders it like useless. Cause like one granule of sugar in like a whole cup of tea, you're just going to taste unsweetened tea. Like you're not going to taste anything else. I don't understand why they would think that diluting it more would cause it to become sweeter.
Well, a common kind of joke is that, all water that we ingest has pretty much gone through the entire water cycle or has been through people's toilets and all this kind of stuff. And water is mostly recycled. You know, we're not just pulling water from springs for you to drink all the time. A lot of it is recycled and it's purified. And so there are no molecules of shit in it. But if you go by homeopathic standards, there's so much shit in your water all the time. I mean, yeah, so basically what that means is by homeopathy's own logic, all of your water, all homeopathy is full of shit.
That is a great tagline for Deer Park water. It's got the picture of that deer standing in the stream. All of your water is full of shit by Deer Park.
Yeah, but then you got to have the deer smiling because you knew he just dropped them in the water.
That's awesome.
So,
all right, Dave,
we got another one. Yeah,
we got. Well, that's not so pertinent to questions. We'll finish up with that one. So the next one is, what contact have you received from essential oil companies, and what did they say to you? Like, so basically, have you gone the route of actually confronting them on it? I think.
Yeah. So I have been contacted by representatives of essential oils, like people that are in the like multi-level marketing schemes and stuff, who have been trying to say, oh, come to my class, you know, read this resource, do this or that. A few people have blocked me from things like Facebook and Twitter because that's like the only time I ever get blocked is from like that, like naturopathy type people, because I can debunk all their arguments without looking anything up because they're so easy. You know, it's like debunking creationism. You can just bring stuff up like that. It's not hard. But I have been contacted by some who are trying to like nicely invite me to learn more, because obviously the only reason I don't believe in this is because I haven't done my research. That's the reason why we're globetards and you know, evolutionists and stuff like that too, right? It's because we haven't looked it up. But so that's the contact I've had. However, as my channel has grown, I think that I've now received more inquiries for sponsored videos that don't have to do with this, but I've had a lot of essential oil companies and people who manufacture like accessories, like diffusers for essential oils, contact me and say, hey, you have one of the most popular videos about Young Living essential oils on YouTube. Would you like to be paid to promote this diffuser in one of your videos? We'll pay you such and such, and we'll give you a diffuser if you display it in the video, or just review it and blah, blah, blah. You know, so I won't do it because it's dishonest, but I'm really tempted. You know, I have well, now you can't see it, but I always have this BS thing up here back in my videos, and that's my BS shelf, you know? And so what I want to do is say, you know what? Yeah, you can totally pay me to get your product on camera, and I'll give nothing but my honest opinion. I won't disparage you, but I'll be perfectly honest. And, you know, they give me money or whatever, and then they give me their product. And at the end of my video, I'm like, oh yeah, so this does this and this. These are all the features. And I'm going to put it exactly where it belongs and be like, set it right there on the shelf. And then just be, you know, that's my outro.
You have to do that. That's genius.
See, the only thing is if I get a serious inquiry and I really do a sponsored video, you know, I don't want people to be like, are you going to like basically disparage my product by doing this? And, you know, I'm not super into doing sponsored videos right now, but I'm not opposed to it completely. But yeah, so I don't know. I really want to, because it'd be funny, but also it kind of ruined my reputation for sponsors.
That's fantastic though. Hey, just make sure it's a good sponsor the first time, because it might be the only time.
Yeah. Well, what I do actually, anytime people contact me, is I send them a link to my video where I'm responding to the essential oil trailer and like talking about how that essential oil company is nearly like a cult and saying that none of it works and all this kind of stuff. And I just give them a link and I say, is this the type of content that you want your products espoused with? No. None of them respond.
Excellent. G, did you have something that you were going to say?
Well, I mean, I was going to say that I love it when people comment on my videos and they're like, why did I get a PragerU video in front of this as an ad?
Yes. I got there was one guy that left a comment today actually that said, we did a show a couple weeks back where we had an ex-Mormon on, and he was going through his story and how he got out of Mormonism. And the ad that played before the actual episode was a Mormon church joining the LDS.
Yeah, there's been a really, really well-made ad where a guy says that he went from atheist to Mormon, playing on a lot of atheist type videos, and people. At one point I was getting like at least 10 comments a day. I think one time I probably got 25 comments in one day just telling me, hey, did you know you're having essential oil ads going? Did you know you have PragerU ads? Did you have Mormon ads? And I'm like, yeah. Like,
that's so smart though on their part, because people who are probably watching your videos are people who do buy into essential oils, and they're watching your video to see, kind of hate watching.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it actually is pretty smart, but really the way that it works is when they're trying to get their video sponsored or whatever. I mean, I did a PragerU debunk recently, and Jordan Peterson's recent like PragerU video was an ad for a long time. And it would play as like a mid-roll or something. And people were all telling me about that. Like, oh, hey, I don't know if you want to, make it to where that doesn't happen. And I'm like, I can't. Yeah. Because what happens is they're trying to get their video out there. Well, actually, maybe there is a way to do it. I don't know how to do it, at least. But the way that they do it is they're like, okay, I want this video to play on certain videos. And so to be able to target my audience, I'm going to let this play as an ad on videos that are tagged or titled something like PragerU or Dennis Prager or, neo-Marxists or something. Right, yeah. So that's how they do it. And with essential oils, it's no different. And with atheist stuff, the Mormon church is probably like, oh yeah, we can convert atheists. So there you go. So when creators have those ads, realize that they're getting paid to have an ad completely fall flat on their audience. So basically, I'm getting paid for people to hate watch PragerU. And I'm totally okay with that because people aren't buying into that shit that are watching me. So fine. Like I'm great with that. They're wasting their money and I'm getting paid. So cool.
Well said.
I agree.
And you're getting the money from PragerU.
Yes, I'm getting PragerU money, some money that they could have used towards something else. And I think that my audience would probably agree that we will all use the money better than they would think PragerU would.
Strippers.
Yeah, strippers and butt cocaine.
There's the line of the night right there. That has to be. I'm changing the thumbnail for this video to be a group of strippers with some butt cocaine.
just that scene.
Cocaine has to be brown if it's butt cocaine, though.
I was just thinking about that, Drew. The scene from The Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah.
If it's brown, it will just look like cocoa powder.
Oh, good point.
Oh man, Dave, you have one more.
Yeah. How about the claims about different therapeutic mushrooms? I assume they're not talking about psilocybin.
Psychedelics, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with psychedelic mushrooms, there's somewhat promising research that psychedelic mushrooms can help with some symptoms of depression or of PTSD. That research, as I understand, is kind of in its infancy. So when you hear someone like Jordan Peterson with Matt Dillahunty claiming, oh yeah, magic mushrooms, those cure smoking, he's talking about trials that have like 12 people in them and they've been done once. They haven't been repeated. And of course, he is trying to just talk about his metaphysical views based on that, like saying you have to have a spiritual experience to stop smoking and stuff like that, which anyone who is an atheist and who has quit smoking while being an atheist will probably say, no, that's not how it works. And
I'm trying.
Yeah. And so really it's in its infancy. And so don't put too much stock in like, oh yeah, if I have addictions or if I have depression or if I have this or that, doing mushrooms is gonna help me. But there is some reason to suspect at least that may be the case. It's just, and like people say that, like pot cures cancer or something. And it's like, no, there's research that's in its infancy that says that some tumor growth with very specific types of cancers can be slightly slowed with a certain amount of THC applied on a very strict basis. Like it's much, much more nuanced than like, oh, pot cures cancer. That'd be awesome if it did,
Yeah.
But we just can't say that reliably. And it's the same thing with mushrooms.
Pot does cure being an asshole, though, 100% of the time.
I mean, there actually is solid like clinical research that is showing, yeah, pot actually can be a great pain reliever, which anyone who has smoked probably knows, or at least the right strain probably knows. And it's a good alternative to opiates, which opiates are extremely addictive, and we have an opiate crisis right now. And so, I mean, I personally think that investing a whole lot more into research of marijuana and potentially using that is going to be a lot more lucrative, because we're not going to have addictions once people, are using it regularly.
Well, when once it's legalized everywhere, my idea won't. I guess stores could adopt it, but I have this idea that I think if you're somebody that distributes marijuana, if you're a weed dealer, I have a business plan for you guys that will make you so much money. Okay, so follow me here. Shoe stores. When you go to a shoe stores sell socks, correct? Because you need those. If you have shoes, obviously you want to get socks. I think the weed man should sell those fun bags of like Funyuns and Doritos and all of that shit. Like you buy a dime bag, you get to pick a bag of Doritos or Funyuns, because no matter where you are, high as a kite, somebody pulls out a bag of Doritos or Funyuns, you're going for those. And if you are somebody that just sells those along with whatever, dime bag, nickel bag, quarter bag, you can make a lot of money that way. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not a bad plan. I think that legalizing it recreationally is a good way to get a lot of, basically get kids out of criminal activity, because then they got a legit way to go about it. And there's not going to be quite as much money in the pockets of people who are selling it criminally.
That's true.
So
but
yeah,
stores,
great.
Or dispensaries. Listen, when you on your checkout aisle at your medical marijuana dispensary, line those shelves up with Doritos, Funyuns, all that shit. Double your income, guaranteed.
We got time for one more.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
0132132, who's a patron as well, also super chatted this. Thank you for the super chat. Someone made an article on how to prepare a homeopathic Ebola cure. Is it dilute enough that the final product probably wouldn't kill you?
God knows.
Oh man. So yeah, so the idea is, you put something that causes Ebola. So basically you put Ebola in there and whatever. I don't know what they would put in there, because they're not getting a hold of Ebola and actually putting it in some water. If it was diluted to the extent that all other homeopathic substances are diluted, then yeah, it probably would be just pure water and be totally safe. Even if you started off with some serious Ebola, you put a big Ebola shit in there, and you'd probably still be fine with your end product.
You put a clump of dirt from Kenya in there.
Yeah,
isn't that where Ground Zero was? I believe.
I have no idea. I'm not sure, but I have no idea what apparently causes the symptoms of Ebola that is not in fact Ebola. I don't know what plant or substance or whatever does that, but that's what you would have to dilute to apparently cure Ebola with homeopathy. So regardless of how you look at it, that person's probably completely off their rocker.
I mean, come on, Drew. Obviously, it's the Ebola plant. I mean, Ebola grows off plants.
That or Roseanne Barr. I'm sure she has caused quite a few people to get Ebola.
Oh, Lord.
You could dunk her in a tank. Take her bath water.
Just the Ebola plant. You know how eggplant, that's where eggs come from and stuff like that. It's kind of the same logic.
That makes sense.
Rubber comes from plants. Why not Ebola?
Sounds like what a creationist would say. Which came first, the egg or the plant?
No, see, the way that Ebola got all the way from Africa to the United States, it didn't take a long time going on a plane. Ebola was on top of a volcano, and it got shot way the fuck out into space, orbited, and came down, just like the koalas did to get from Turkey all the way to Australia. That's how Ebola got to the United States.
Who says that?
Talking to Nephilim Free again.
I've gotten one comment from him, and when he did, I was my wife was driving, we're going somewhere, and I was looking through my comments, and I was like, oh my god, and I'm yelling, she's like, what? And I was like, Nephilim Free finally commented on one of my videos. And she was like, I don't know who that is, why would I be excited?
What did he say?
It was like the only creationist video debunk that I've ever done. And it was just something like, you know how people say, oh, evolution can't be science because evolution definitionally defies the definition of science or something like that. He was making an argument similar to that, if I remember correctly. It's pretty buried because that's like my second most popular video ever. And so I'd have to dig through, like 10,000 comments or something to get to him. But maybe one day I'll actually screenshot that and like frame it.
Last question before we close out. Do you and Nephilim have a history?
No, I've never interacted with him. Although, I've seen Thunderfoot's old stuff. I've watched Arin Ra videos. I've watched old Dark Matter and Dark Antics, and I've watched Nephilim Free stuff. And it's great if you just want to laugh at a classic lolcow. It's like a classic B movie that you get drunk and watch with your friends. But if you watched it sober, like you'd be in physical pain. That's kind of what Nephilim Free stuff is like.
Very good point.
Maybe one day I'll talk to him, but I don't really know if I'd have much reason to other than to
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I just got a fantastic idea.
Oh,
I know just the place for you to have a discussion with Nephilim Free.
Please don't subject me to that, Kyle.
Oh no.
we have to talk about this. This could be something beautiful, I think.
Is there a way to make it about some kind of, I want to know Nephilim Free's alternative medicine type ideas, because he's got to have some. There's a lot of creationist and alternative medicine overlap, actually.
I'll find out and send it to you, and you can decide. But that would be, if we put poor John through you and Dave, you can handle Nephilim Free.
I'm just going to be sitting here like, I'm going to be giggling like Rachel Oates the whole time.
That's awesome. The sad thing is, though, he has not evolved. Like, okay, this is actually poetic. He has not evolved in his arguments since we first started. None of them do. They don't follow any kind of evolution. They stay static in exactly the same way. So you can literally watch Nephilim Free from 2018 and watch him from 2011, and you wouldn't be able to distinguish which was which.
And that's the reason why the Creation Museum has so much trouble getting new exhibits.
Well said. Well said. All right. Well, I'm going to let you close us out with letting everybody know where they can find you. And then, John, same thing with you. I know you have streams on the regular too, so you can tell everybody about those as well. But Drew, where can people find more on Genetically Modified Skeptic?
Well, first of all, I'll say shout out to my buddy Brian. I think he did like a $2 super chat or something. And I'm not making this up. He actually said, why is GMS so sexy or something along those lines? Well, this is a guy I know in person. And so I'm just saying, you guys come to Faithless Forum too, and you guys can figure out what Brian's on about there. But yeah, so you can find me. My YouTube channel is Genetically Modified Skeptic, and I'm closing in on around 50K. I'm hoping to get 50K in less than a month here. Right now, predictions are putting it literally like the last second of the month of July. So I don't know. I hope I can make it like by the 31st, but I might not. But either way, I'm happy to have that now. You want to talk about alternative medicine stuff or Jordan Peterson, or just generally not being an asshole while discussing like atheist type stuff, or debunk Islam, then yeah, my stuff is there for you. I am GM_skeptic on Twitter, and I am pretty active on there in between videos. So always, you want to send me something, Twitter is a great way to do it. Otherwise, yeah, thanks guys for having me on. I've been looking forward to being on NonSec about something. I'm just glad it was essential oils because I like to rant about this stuff.
Yeah, and we're gonna have you on again. If not with Nephilim Free, I would like to find somebody that believes actually in the essential oils thing, and maybe you two have a back and forth. I think that would be good.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. I think I'd be interested to do that. Hopefully, it'd be someone who'd be willing to actually talk and not just say that I don't have enough life experience because I'm too young.
Yeah.
I usually clap back with that verse in Timothy where it says, don't let anyone look down upon you because you're young, because most of them are Christian. And then they're like,
ooh, that burns. They hate it when you use their book against them. They hate it.
You're an atheist. Why would you read the Bible?
It doesn't apply to you.
Yeah.
All right. And Mr. Engineer.
Well, yeah, I'm the Godless Engineer. You can find me on YouTube at Godless Engineer. It's not the best content on the internet, but it is content, I guess.
We take the cake for the
My content is good.
You don't put content up.
I used to.
I do a live stream every Friday night, so if you want to come and harass me there, you can. And I thank NonSec for having me on yet again.
You've got to get in the chat in John's Flat Earth Fridays. That is always lit. Even when it's not about Flat Earth, it's always lit. And I try to be in there as much as I can and like make fun of people. And
I'm gonna have to check. I'm gonna have to do that. Friday, actually, we have Reds versus Jeranism at 8, and it's been like 2 years since they last spoke. So it's like getting hyped up in the Flat Earth, community. But I'm always terrified when they come to our live chat because they just take it over. And Dave, I believe, haven't you timed some? Dave tries to time them all out and all that shit. It's hilarious, but they come out in like droves and they're evil.
Jesus.
Well, yeah. I used to moderate Soundly's 24/7 stream, and on that stream, there was like criteria for remaining in his YouTube chat, and one of those criteria is you back your statement up with evidence. Well, you can imagine how most of those people lasted in that live stream.
Oops. And speaking of Muslims, we actually have the first one that we've had on our show coming tomorrow at 8 p.m. So
awesome.
Join us back here at 8. We will be talking to Caliph of God. He believes that the world should be under one caliphate, one religion, one God. And interestingly enough, he is also running for president in 2020. So you can visit caliph2020.org to check out his campaign platform and what he thinks. So
that's going to be successful.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I hope that all of the MAGA people don't like assassinate him or something.
Well, let me tell you, if you have the opportunity, go to his website and read the platform, because he's one of those that gets in super detail and everything's outlined. And I'm just looking forward to being able to talk to him, because I'm asking that question, John, about the or who said that about the MAGA? That was Drew.
That was me. Yeah.
I'm going to ask him about that, how he thinks that's going to be received well in like Texas and here I am, North Carolina and Alabama. I don't think it's going to fly over that well. But
yeah,
we'll see.
I wouldn't support him, but I would be very worried for his safety and want to make sure that he's safe.
I agree.
So that'll be interesting. Yeah, you guys should tune into that. That's awesome.
I agree. But yeah, thanks to both of you gentlemen. This was fantastic. Had a lot of fun. I love having streams where I can come on and actually laugh and not wince in pain at some of the arguments that are being made. But this was great. And everybody out there, thanks to you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow here at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Bye, heathens.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.